What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday night. Welcome to the Pre-Scout here live every single weeknight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, WagerTalk TV on X, on multiple networks. We are breaking down games. We're looking at latest news across the NHL, and we are giving you guys at least a couple picks for the next night. Now, of course, tonight, we're going to go over just a couple of the games for the Wednesday slate in the NHL. Actually, a handful of games on the Wednesday slate in the NHL. If you're tuning in live, if you're with me live right now on the show, we have Chef, a couple plays still loading right now. We have a play pending with a money line parlay. We have Minnesota Wild parlayed with the Vegas Golden Knights. And we have the Florida Panthers team total over 3.5 goals against the Anaheim Ducks. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, Duffel, you got that right. The stubborn Bruins just won't go away. I had the Islanders team total over 3.5. That one goes to overtime, but they lose 4-3 in that one. We did cash with the Carolina Hurricanes, so happy to see that one came through. But just kind of rooting on the rest of that money line parlay with the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights about to get started here soon. And, of course, the Florida Panthers team total over 2.5. That Montreal Canadiens game, Wild. The Habs go down to 3-0 early on, score 4 straight goals in the second period, but they end up losing that one 5-4 in a shootout. Wild news as far as the New York Rangers, as they're shut out again, I believe for the 4th time this season at home. It's unbelievable. Maybe 3rd or 4th time, but this team, whatever it might be, I mean, you're supposed to have a home ice advantage with the fans, but you're also supposed to have that last change advantage and maybe the rest. I get it. They're coming back from a road trip, this New York Rangers team here, guys, but very peculiar spot here. You know, I kind of lean towards the Rangers. The more the day went on, I like the under. And then I said to myself, you know what? If it's going to be an under type of game, I'm going to lock in the Carolina Hurricanes. And Carmine mentioned it on Puck Time. It was going to be just a way better price. So Hal says, I had a nice point parlay come through on the Bruins Isles game and cashing on Isles games as of late, which is very unusual. Yeah, I mean, the thing is about the Islanders these days, at least, is that we're finally starting to see some goals involving their games. So at least from a prop perspective, you can get a little bit more out of them. That's for sure. All right, guys, let's do what we've been doing quite a bit here. Take a look at the expected starting goaltenders for Wednesday's slate. See what we have with some of these goalies. And now, obviously, we don't have a lot of these confirmed, but we'll bring them up and, see what we have here for these goaltenders. So it looks like we'll have Utah playing second half of back-to-back. Vitek Vanacek taking on Anthony Stolarz. Stolarz has been doing the bulk of the work for the Maple Leafs. We'll see if he ends up being the guy. Binnington versus Logan Thompson, Blues and Capitals. Jet Greaves, who's actually been pretty damn good, 2.67 goals against average, 915 save percentage against Dustin Wolf. Wolf, guys, 3.39 GAA, 885 save percentage. Spencer Knight versus Thatcher Demko, and Askarov versus Philip Grubauer. So a handful of games here, guys, for Wednesday's slate, but mostly all the usual suspects in net for tomorrow, it looks like. But this one's kind of interesting to me here, the 415 goals against average. I mean, this San Jose team, I don't know how they're going to fare against a Kraken team that will play really well defensively. We'll take a look at that game in a few minutes. But Duffel says Boldy has 0 shots. My man needs to start firing. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know what to say about that one. I mean, Boldy, he had like so many shot attempts in his last couple of games, but especially against Nashville. He had like 8, 10, 12 shot attempts. And then for whatever it is, I don't know if he's just being more of a defensive guy in this game or whatever it is, but he definitely has not been out there offensively. So that's been a little bit tough to see for that one. But that's why we keep the volume low with the props and the units low with the player props. Looking at the opening numbers for tomorrow's games, I guess we'll start off with this. There's not much info out on the Toronto game, so we only have a couple spots that have numbers there for that one. I'm seeing minus 172, minus 165, somewhere in that ballpark for the Utah against Toronto Maple Leafs game here, guys, Wednesday night. Utah won 2-1 in overtime against Buffalo. And of course, we all know Buffalo isn't much of a trip to Toronto. One thing to mention, though, is that was one of those games, according to Money Puck and according to a lot of the analytical websites, although it was a 2-1 win in overtime, this team absolutely dominated that game from start to finish. They looked really, really good. And going over some of these expected goal numbers, for the Utah Hockey Club or Utah Mammoth in this one, 3.51 to 1.81 in favor of Utah. So they looked really good against Buffalo, played a really good brand of hockey. The deserve to win meter had them at 79.3% deserve to win. So I think that's something that's kind of interesting to look at. And I'll tell you, some of the top guys just continue to perform. Nick Schmaltz has 8 goals now on the year. Clayton Keller had a good one. And Vejmelka played pretty well too. So as we talked about, because it will be the back-to-back, we are going to see Vanacek and Vejmelka played the first half. So right now, I would say that Utah kind of has 2 goalies that are sort of similar. Vanacek with the 913 save percentage at 2 goals against average is 2-1 on the year. But one thing I want to say here, though, guys, is that last game for the Maple Leafs, that was one that they're not going to be proud of against the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? So they were down 3-0, and they end up scoring 3 straight goals, and then they add to that lead again, and they end up winning it against the Maple Leafs. But when you listen to the post-game press conferences, when you read everything into it, Coach Berube wasn't happy. He said, we were awful for the first 40 minutes. We did not play good hockey through the first 40 minutes. William Nylander, same thing. He said, we did not play our brand of hockey through the first 40 minutes. Austin Matthews, at the end of the game, his speech to his team, he said that we have to be tenacious. We have to be the team that we were in the third period, in the first 2 periods of the game. So I think that when I look at this game, you got one team playing second half of a back-to-back. You've got one team with the Toronto Maple Leafs that are going to be very, very motivated, I think, defensively. I think we're going to see this team really want to clamp down and give their team a good defensive effort because of how they went about their game in the first period against Pittsburgh last time out. A couple days rest here, or I guess a night off, I should say. You get the rest advantage. And you guys know I love looking at team total overs. The way I'm looking at this one, this is a really good spot to look towards team total under. And I think that just based on how I feel about this team for Utah, what it is, 8-2 or 9-2, it's a really good run for them right now. But I feel like this Maple Leafs team is really good in situations where they're not going to be happy with how they played in their previous game. And despite the fact that they got the win, this is probably a spot that I want to back them. So I'll tell you what, guys, that'll be a play that we can probably look to fire on. So I have no problem with that. I have no problem with firing on that one. And we'll go with Mammoth team total under 2.5. We'll call it -110, but I think you can probably get some better prices at other shops there. This is one of those things where it's more so like you're feeling good about yourself. You dominated a game one night, front half of the back-to-back. Now you got to play a Maple Leafs team. And I will say, if you look at the Money Puck numbers for the expected goals against, this Maple Leafs team is 8th best. Like, they're not bad defensively, guys. This is a pretty good defensive team, and they had a really bad outing in the first 40 minutes, this Maple Leafs team did. So I do think defense will be the message and will be the focal point for the Maple Leafs. So we'll see. We'll see. I know Timothy was posting about over and first period over. I think that if you like the overs, you look towards Maple Leafs because they're going to be motivated. Despite winning their last game against Pittsburgh, they're probably going to be really motivated in this one. That's for sure. So we do think that Mammoth team total under 2.5. Stars just came back again. Wow. What's the score of that one now? 3-3, Edmonton and Dallas. Wow. Edmonton second half of back-to-back. That's what ends up happening with them. And Timothy, I'll tell you what, I could definitely see the first period going over in that game. Wow, 1-0 Anaheim already. Happy I'm only on the team total in that one for Florida. But Anaheim's the real deal, guys. I guess they are pretty good, but I just kind of feel like this is a team that everybody's hyping up. We'll see if they can continue to do what they're doing right now. All right, looking at the next game here, we've got the Washington Capitals. They haven't played since Saturday. They had a 4-3 loss against the Sabres. On Friday, they lost 3-1 against the Islanders. Previous to that, they lost 1-0 against the Stars. And then before that, they got slapped around and they lost 7-1 to the Ottawa Senators. This team is not looking strong right now, but when you look at it, they still have some pretty decent offensive numbers. Binnington versus Logan Thompson. Binnington with 3.08 goals against average, 8.68 save percentage. Logan Thompson, 1.51 GAA, 935 save percentage. You got to think this is a pretty good spot here for the Washington. The opening number in this one, 158, 160, and it hasn't really moved too much off that. We have seen South Point at 150, BetOnline 150, DraftKings, Caesars at 155. This Blues team, though, one thing about this Blues team is that they've started to kind of play a little bit better hockey. Look at their last couple of games. I mean, they've all been pretty tight. They had that 1-goal loss against the Canucks, 1-goal loss against the Blue Jackets, and the 1-goal win against the Edmonton Oilers. But when it comes down to it here, guys, this is a Washington Capitals team that probably needed a rest, probably needed a break. They had the back-to-back Friday, Saturday, and then they haven't played since then. And their first game since then will be on Wednesday. And it's kind of nice for them that game gets to be at home as well. So I do think it should be a pretty good look for Washington. The question is, do we end up seeing them kind of play a good game defensively, or is their offense the thing that ends up coming and being the thing that gets them over the edge? Because, with Logan Thompson having the numbers that he has, and with him being such a good goaltender and this team being known for being a good defensive team, I'm a little bit surprised right now by how many goals they're letting in. They rank 11th in expected goals against, but maybe it's just the untimely chances, the untimely goals that they're giving up. They rank 11th in expected goals against, and the St. Louis Blues are 17th in expected goals against. So I don't really blame Binnington that much for some of the struggles that they've had, because the defense hasn't really been that good for the St. Louis Blues this year. It just really hasn't. Tomorrow, Broberg, Parayko, Fowler, Falk, Tucker, and Matthew Kessel, as I believe healthy scratch has been awarded for Logan Mailloux. So we'll see. That's a real big issue. Duffel says Dubois on the IR. Caps need scoring. Yeah, that's for sure. They do need some scoring. Well, we'll see what kind of game they can bring. They've struggled a little bit to find the scoring touch. In 3 of their last 4 games, they have just 1 goal scored. But this could be a pretty good matchup to do it against. And again, this Blues team is sort of getting it together. But at the end of the day, they're also so inconsistent. So we'll see, guys. This is going to be one of those ones for me. I'm interested to see how that one moves overnight. I'm going to read more up on the Capitals there, but I really, really love the rest factor. Really do love the rest factor for them in that one. Columbus and Calgary. I wanted to tell you guys, the expected goals for. That one's kind of interesting here. The expected goals for. This Calgary Flames team, their shooting percentage, their expected goals for, their high dangerous chances created, it's just been absolutely horrible for them. They just have not been able to create chances. They have not been able to kind of generate offense. And you look at their last couple of games. That victory they had over the Philadelphia Flyers, guys, they only scored 2 goals. And they're lucky to even win that game if it wasn't for getting good goaltending. So You look at Dustin Wolf's numbers, as I mentioned previously, 3.39 goals against average, 8.85 save percentage. I don't blame him for that as much because the defense has not been very good for the Flames. And I was doing a show today and we were talking about how overall this Flames team and even the Canucks as well, some of these Canadian teams, they refuse to rebuild. And I think the Flames are kind of stuck right now in a weird situation. I would say that Nazem Kadri and some of these guys are going to get moved at the deadline. We'll see what ends up happening with that one. But, this Calgary Flames team at home right now find themselves as underdogs. The game opened at minus 115. It's close to pick 'em right now here. But at the end of the day here, it's the high dangerous chances that are created for this Columbus Blue Jackets team that kind of has me interested in them. They're number 5 in expected goals for on the league, and it's going to be very hard for this Flames team to keep up with a team that creates that many chances like the Columbus Blue Jackets do. So something worth looking at, guys. I think that they could actually probably drag the Flames into a high-scoring fight. We saw 3 straight games go over the total for the Blue Jackets, and then 2 straight go under. 3-2 score against the Blues and 3-2 score against the Islanders. So maybe we do see some overs. Timothy's with me, though. He likes Columbus tomorrow, and I'm with you on that. I think Columbus is more than likely to play. They'll start to rebuild when they leave the Saddle Dome. Yeah, exactly. So we'll look at monitoring that one overnight. I'll tell you guys, one thing kind of interesting. I'm a little bit shocked to see that there are a couple 6.5s. But if this game goes over, it's all Columbus. And I do think Columbus's offense is just going to be too much to handle for the Calgary Flames. We'll have to see what happens with that one. Chicago, Vancouver, I don't have too much on that one here, guys. Minus 171 at Pinnacle, current number. We've seen a little bit of money come in on Chicago. This Vancouver Canucks team, very similar, as I was talking about. They're in kind of a weird spot right now because they don't really know what they are. And you look at this Canucks team, they're coming off a win against the Predators, but it's the Predators. I'm not really too impressed by them. That loss that they had against the Wild, that tells you all you have to know about this Canucks team right now because the Wild aren't scoring goals against anybody. They're not. I mean, they just aren't. They're not able to score goals to anybody. When I look at this one here a little bit, I'm partially interested in looking towards the dog, looking at some type of plus 1.5 or team total over or some type of bet for Chicago because they've been such a good underdog team. They've been a very good plus 1.5 team. And I know that's a little bit chalky and you got to take that into account, but this team has been in every game. And the funny thing is they've kind of been humbled recently. They lost to the Jets 6-3, lost to the Oilers 3-2, lost to the Kraken 3-1. So we could see a bounce back effort out of this Blackhawks team. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if this is the team, if this is the spot that they do get it going a little bit here. So maybe it's worth a shot. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that is a play that we'll end up taking a look at because this Canucks team is just so inconsistent right now. We'll take a look at it. Let's see. Let's put it out there. For the purposes of the show, Blackhawks plus 150. That could be our underdog of the night for Wednesday night. Something worth looking at. And maybe it's a good player prop game. Maybe it's a good props game. Shots on goal, player points, power play, whatever it might be. It could be a good opportunity to look towards that. And I'll tell you what, guys, Seattle and San Jose. Everybody's darling team, San Jose because of watching Will Smith and Celebrini. I'll tell you guys right now, under 6.5 is a play for me in that game. Under 6.5 is a play for me. When you look at the expected goals for on the season, you have the worst team in the league with the Seattle Kraken in expected goals for, and the 5th worst team in the league in expected goals for with the San Jose Sharks. So 2 of the worst teams in expected goals for on the season going head to head. And I know San Jose's got talent. I know they have playmakers. I know they have the ability. But I think when you look at it, this is probably an opportunity to look at a sneaky under. Seattle will drag them into the fight. They'll drag them into a low-scoring, boring game. And I think this game has under written all over it. So Sharks, Kraken, under 6.5 is a play that I'm looking at. We'll see if I end up involved in a side or any team total or any props in that game. But Sharks, Kraken, under 6.5 is a play that we're looking at for tomorrow. That's the West Coast game. It's a late night game in the NHL. What site do you use for expected goals or other analytics? I use moneypuck.com. I use Natural Stat Trick. I'm actually going to have a new website to showcase and to pump up here shortly, which I'm excited about. All kinds of different websites to use, but Natural Stat Trick and Money Puck are my two favorite ones to look at. We got to go back to Burke plus Bedard point combo. Yeah, I mean, that was so awesome the other night. The fact that they only scored one goal, and it was Burakovsky assisted by Bedard. That was awesome. Looking like Knight versus Demko tomorrow, possibly an under. Good call. Good call. Yeah. Good call. And honestly, Knight's been so good. That does help our case with the Blackhawks money line or plus 1.5 or whatever we want to get down on. So we'll see. All right, guys. Let's see if Florida can tie it up. They did. Florida tied it up 1-1. So we got that. Minnesota, hopefully they can hang on to their lead because we got a parlay there with Vegas. So hopefully next time I see you guys tomorrow night, we're in a good mood. We're cashing tickets, and we're getting back on track in the NHL because, man, we got off to a crazy, crazy start. And then we hit a huge wall. We're going to be here every single night talking to you guys. Got a guest coming on tomorrow night. Believe I got a guest coming on Friday night. And working on getting some actual reporters as well for some of these teams coming up. So you guys let me know what you want to hear, any teams you want me to cover a lot more, any topics you want me to cover more in the NHL. But as always, guys, we're just going over the slate. There are some things that could change between now and tomorrow. I always like reading the market, looking at some of these situations. But I am very interested in some of these spots for tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, very curious to see the focus level we get from Toronto, especially defensively. And I know Utah has been so good offensively, but that team total under could be a really good look for the Utah Mammoth, just because I think that we're going to see the best defensive game we can possible out of Toronto. So Timothy, Duffel, Hal, everybody in here, we appreciate you guys for being here. Around 420 of you guys watching across Twitter and YouTube. Thank you for being with me. You can find me at McInnis Picks, of course, on X. Subscribe, WagerTalk TV. And, of course, all of my picks, wt.buzz/AM. And looking like a winning night. And between all these games, we're going to have a play we like quite a bit tomorrow. Potentially a 5% play for Wednesday night in the NHL. So let's cash some tickets, guys. Let's have a great night. Hope you guys all can cash some winners, but also learn something in the NHL tonight with some of these games, because I know I certainly have with some of these teams. That's for sure. All right, guys, enjoy yourselves. Take care, and I'll see you next time right here on the Pre-Scout.